Welcome to the Packaging Perspective, video and podcast series brought to you by Packhelp. Every episode, we welcome an exciting new brand to learn about what makes them buzz, the trends taking off in their industries, and the fascinating role packaging plays in it all. Hi, this is Magda from Packhelp and welcome on today's episode of the Packaging Perspective. Today we'll be looking at the very specific sector of the fashion industry, denim. Blue jeans are among the most worn piece of clothing on earth, transcending time, trends, even social status. According to the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, it is estimated that consumers worldwide shop 1.2 billion pairs of jeans every year. But that's unfortunate for the planet because denim production uses a lot of resources like pesticides, water, energy. So how does it impact today's fashion brands and brands that are producing denim? Does it also influence the packaging they're using? I'm gonna chat about all of this with our today's guest, Zoé Daemen, Corporate Responsibility Manager from Kuichi. Hi, Zoé.
Hi Magda. It's so nice to be here.
Yeah, thank you for accepting our invite. How are you today?
I'm well. Yeah, really excited to talk about denim with you.
First of all, let's give you a little bit of space to introduce the Kuichi. I've read online that you are the first denim brand that's organic since 2001. That means you're in the business for more than 20 years or so. Mm-hmm. So tell us how it all started.
For Kuichi, the journey actually started before 2001 because we were founded by an NGO, Solidaridad. It's a Dutch NGO. And they were in Peru looking at coffee beans and these kind of things. And then they saw the devastating effects of conventional cotton farming because of the pesticide use. That's, is not a good impact on local communities. And then they figured, let's do what we do with coffee beans, making it more fair and less polluting with cotton as well. And with that thought, they had these farmers producing better cotton, but the price was really high. So conventional brands weren't willing to pay up the price. That's when they figured, let's start a brand ourselves. And that's when Kuichi started. First product range was tees in all colors of the rainbow. And that's also where our name is coming from, because it's the Peruvian god of the rainbow, Kuichi.
Yeah.
And from there, the brand evolved into a denim brand because, denim is one of the most worn pieces of cotton clothing, as you already said.
As Kuichi, you publish sustainability reports, which are a form of non-financial reporting on your sustainability metrics and your progress towards them. I've read in your latest report that, and I'm going to quote it here, the production of a piece of clothing is a wild ride with numerous steps and processes along the way. Can you explain what you mean by wild ride and maybe walk us through the production process a little bit?
Yeah, so the production process is really, really a wild ride because there are so many processes embedded in making a piece of clothing. We don't really think about how many hands have touched a piece of garment as well. It starts in the head office with the design, but then if we look at the making of the denim, you have to go back to the farm. And here the farmer produces his cotton in like half a year. He produces it from seed until the final raw cotton. And this cotton has to go to a ginner. The ginner has to clean the cotton, has to comb the cotton, and it becomes a bale of cotton that goes to a spinner. And the spinner, he combs it again to make it really silky soft into these thick threads of chunky knit.
Yeah.
And that has to become like a finer thread again. So there are big machines there. And then it goes into dyeing. And with denim, it's really specific because indigo dye, it's not really an effective way of dyeing normally because the pigment doesn't adhere really good to the yarn. So you need multiple beds of dye because the indigo also needs oxygen to turn blue. So, and that goes into the weaver. And the weaver makes denim from it, and that's like really specific weaving as well. So their construction of the fabric is established at the weaving. And with denim, it's like a diagonal twill. So you can see that in your denim. I don't know if you're wearing one right now.
No.
But you can see like diagonal lines on your denim. And that's what specifies denim fabric. So that's really awesome. And then you have denim fabric. It goes to a new factory again, normally. There they cut it into patterns with a laser or with like mechanic scissors. And those patterns need to become a jeans. And for that, you have like this big production line of 20 steps or even more, with every machine specified for that simple one step. In the past, that was where the production ended in a way, because we bought them as dry denim. You can still get them today. I'm wearing one right now. But now we are used to getting like worn-in looked denim.
Yeah.
So it has to go to the laundry.
Yeah, vintage style.
Yeah, the vintage style, like really nice shades of blue, and you can change a lot on the denim in the laundry. And there, actually, what we do is we abrade like micro layers of the fabric. So the internal part of the yarn is not dyed, because it's how it's dyed. And if you like shave off the micro layers, then the lighter color comes through, and that's really specific to denim as well. So in the laundry, you use chemicals or sanding paper, and now with newer technology, you can use lasers or ozone machines that are really better for the people and the environment. And then you have a denim fully constructed, and you still have to add like the buttons, the rivets, the labels, and then it goes to the warehouse. So it's a long ride, and this is really simplified version, because in every step there are multiple steps included. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. It's a very long process. It's complicated to understand it to full extent.
Yeah.
There are some parts that are more challenged than the others because they have a bigger impact on the environment. Which parts of the production process you would say are currently the most challenged and transformed globally?
If it really comes to denim, then I think it's both the materials used and the wet processing, so the laundry that I said before. So the new machinery like ozone, newer chemicals, better chemicals. To go back to the material choice, of course, Kuichi, we have like a only organic cotton policy. So all our cotton is certified organic. And with that, we guarantee that in the process of growing the cotton, there's no pesticide used, no insecticides used, no synthetic fertilizer, no GMO seeds. And it's really better for the farmer, but also for the earth and the ground that it's grown upon. And you think organic, wow, it's not really shocking that we use that, because you see it everywhere now.
Yeah.
But actually, only 1.4% of all cotton is organic certified at the moment. That was a report of Textile Exchange last year. And it's really so, minimal that I'm really questioning where all this organic cotton is coming from. And that's why we're also thinking the demand is really high now. So the offer has to grow as well. But it's really difficult to grow that offer fast, because it takes like up to 3 years to go from conventional farming to organic farming. So together with one of our denim mills in Turkey, Zoé Daemen, we set up a cotton and conversion project where we help farmers to move from conventional to organic farming. First products with them will launch in August. So we're really excited for that.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. And I also visited the farmer last year in September, which was really awesome, because for him, it was also the first time that he saw a brand at the farm, because most brands don't visit farms. And it was really awesome to see how he changed his whole farming business from conventional farming to now organic farming. And still he was like really hesitant. It was just before the harvest, so he didn't know how much yield or how much volume of cotton he would get from his field. But because Bossa covers like the risk of losing income, the farmer gets that incentive to change, because it's their yearly income. So making that shift and taking that risk is really hard, because it's what you've known all these years, what you've being taught by your parents and change from one day to the other and risking your like yearly income. It's not a light choice to make.
Yeah, I imagine. I think that's really amazing that you invest in tackling the challenges that are not the easiest, but the most burning ones, you know? So I think that's really amazing. When we're talking about the materials, one of the things I've read on your website is that you are including post-consumer recycled materials within your materials mix. When did you implement that, and was that difficult at all?
Yeah, I think the first project we did with that was in 2008, so a really long time ago. We had a really awesome project. It was called Deposit Denim, and it's mostly funny for Dutchies, but we had like this slogan on a window in Amsterdam in the red light district, and it says, pijpen 10 euro, and it's translated like blowjob 10 euro, but in Dutch, pijpen is both the legs of your denim of your pants and blowjob. It was a really funny event because tourists would go inside and we were like, oh, 10 euros, okay. And then they were like,
this
event, it's about jeans. Yeah. So that was really nice. So that was the first time that we actually got denim legs and recycled them into new jeans. We have had multiple projects like that, but we also use other post-consumer cotton waste streams like bed linens and these kind of things. And we make them into new fiber mechanically and put them in our jeans again. Yeah. So it's really nice because you can see a difference and it reduces the impact majorly, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to ask about it because actually we see the increase of brands asking for the packaging containing PCR plastic mainly.
Yeah.
And actually that's great news because producing virgin plastics requires a lot of energy that usually runs on fossil fuels. So that's just a very good thing for the environment. So I'm happy to see this trend being present also in fashion production, but also in the packaging side of things. Are there any other innovative materials that you're proud of, you want to share?
Yeah, besides mechanically recycled fibers, there's also a growing increase of chemically recycled fibers. They have like the same kind of feel like a viscose or a lyocell. And they also use the same process as a lyocell. And we use right now Glefibra. It's from Lenzing. It's a really nice fiber. They use pre-consumer waste right now, but their goal is to also go towards post-consumer waste. But I think one of the things we overlook the most is to use the fibers that we have used for centuries already in clothing, like linen and hemp. Those are fibers that the percentage of usage on the global industry is really, really low. Well, they have major benefits because the impact of growing them is way less. They need less water. So in that way, it's really convenient to use these kind of fibers, but the offer is really low and it's more expensive. So that's why most brands don't look for those kind of fibers. But in my own bubble, so I'm not sure if it's really the case, but I can see more linen coming in, but hemp is still like underrated, I think.
Yeah, but you also do produce from hemp, right?
Yeah. In some of our denim, we have hemp and linen a lot in our tops, but also in some knitwear, we have hemp. So we try to implement those fibers as well. Yeah.
All right. So we can lead the change.
Yeah, of course.
Wow. I mean, the whole process of producing a pair of jeans is frankly overwhelming. And I see that it requires a lot of business partners, a network of suppliers, because you use a lot of materials and all of them come from different parts of the world. I've seen that you openly publish the list of your suppliers.
Yeah.
Do you think that's something new? Is it still a trend or new industry normal, you would say?
Yeah, I think it's becoming a more industry normal nowadays, or I hope so. I think Kuichi, the first Meet the Maker campaign that we did was in 2010. So that's where we show these are the people that made your clothes. But actually, the shift in the industry came in 2013 when Rana Plaza collapsed. It's now 10 years ago. 1,134 people died, I believe. And it was the biggest catastrophe in the fashion history until now. And they didn't know which companies were producing there. Companies themselves often didn't know that they were producing there. They only found out by the labels between the rubbles which brands were. And from there, Fashion Revolution started. It's an NGO, and they really focus on transparency in the industry. And in 2016, they launched the Fashion Transparency Index. And I believe last year they concluded that 24% of fashion is transparent now. It was only a 1% increase from the year before. Actually, the amount of brands grew until 48%, but 50% doesn't include any information about the supply chain yet. So there is like some kind of joy to have about the growth of companies being transparent about their first tier suppliers, so where they combine all the clothing. But yeah, there's a long way to go to make it really an industry standard. But I think EU legislation will help with that as well.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah, I think the legislation can push the change forward.
Yeah.
Similarly with packaging. We talked a lot about the production. I hope by now everyone knows how denim is produced and then turned into a pair of jeans.
Yeah.
Let's talk about bringing products to your end customers. What are your distribution channels at the moment for Kuichi brand?
We have multi-brand retailers that sell our products, and we have our own web shop. And I think there are some web shops out there that also sell Kuichi, but most is affiliate marketing or these kind of things. Yeah.
Sure. And I mean, obviously, I wouldn't be myself if I wouldn't ask. What kind of packaging do you use across those distribution channels?
Well, I brought it for you, so you can have the experience yourself.
Yay!
Here you go.
A little bit of unboxing, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, before I don't want to say destroy it, but before I open it, can you tell us a little bit about it? Or what am I carrying?
Yeah, well, it's a paper mailer, and it's FSC certified, so from sustainable forests. The paper is made. It has 2 closing strips, so you can return your package if you want, or hopefully you enjoy it, you don't need it. But if you need it, then you don't need to search for new packaging. So that's really nice. And what we really like about it with Packhelp is that it's locally produced as well. So it's within the EU, in Poland, and that limits also the carbon emissions of the packaging, of course.
All right. Let's do a little bit of unboxing now. I'm gonna open this. I hope I do it correctly, though.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a very popular solution nowadays because it doesn't tear apart your packaging. You can just open it. It's very easy. And there's a double strip you mentioned about.
Yeah.
And obviously some clothing. Is it for me?
I don't know your size, so you can try it on.
All right. Amazing. Oh my God. I love the details. Can you tell us a little bit about the labels you're using?
Yeah, so we try to don't use any unnecessary labeling. So we have an overrider.
Yeah.
Here it's for the shops, so they can see the kind of product it is and the size. Also here on the front, and we have also this label, and it's about the material inside, and you can scan the QR and get more information about the material and why we use it. So in that way, it's kind of a way to educate our consumers as well while they buy our product, because on the website it's really easy to explain everything you want, but on the product it's a lot more difficult.
All right.
Yeah.
There is more. All right. There's another pair of jeans. Loving them. And there's a little thank you card.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It says, thank you for your order and support. We know it's in good hands, but you might need some extra advice. Scan the QR code to view our care guide. That's a wonderful idea. So how do you educate your customers further? What's in the care guide?
Yeah, so we just launched the care guide this year. We had like some tips before, but now really based on the material that's inside your jeans or your top, you can see what kind of care you need to give it. So how to wash it, but also tips like don't wash your jeans too often because it will ruin them in the long term. Real denim lovers never wash their jeans. So so it's like these kind of tips, and it's nice to have it in the package because it's like a touch point with your consumer, where they hopefully also take the effort to check it, because a lot of the impact of a garment is in how consumers are using it. And we give over like the responsibility of that at that point.
It really shows that every piece of your packaging, you really thought it through and it's there for a purpose. Which I think other brands can really learn from you. Okay, Zoe, thank you so much for bringing this for me. I'm gonna keep them. You're a perfect example of packaging that's minimalistic and on point and well thought. But you obviously interact with a lot of other fashion brands, and you're a part of the industry at large. So what would you say are the biggest challenges in packaging for fashion brands right now?
I think a big problem is like return packaging. So like the double closure strip, you already said it, it's really something that brands want these days, because unfortunately with online shopping there's a lot of returns because people buy several sizes or several styles and only pick one. That is something that is challenging. But for me personally, I'm not an expert in this field, of course, but for me personally, I really hate it when I have several packaging and they are building up in my home and I have to dispose of them all. So I think the industry should think more about the value of the packaging itself and how it's disposed of. So we had like compostable mailers before your packaging, but we found out that actually it's a really good solution because it's a low impact on the environment, but not the right channels to dispose of it are there yet. So it's like too much in front of the big crowd. And in that way, we thought, okay, then let's go to paper, because almost every country has a good paper recycling system that is efficient and that people can use easily. So I think thinking about those kind of things, but also plastic, I think is one of the main things that people are trying to get rid of, or like virgin plastic packaging.
I confirm that looking at the inquiries we're getting and also the customers we're interacting with. I think you made a very valid point on looking at the whole life cycle of a packaging, because I think sometimes brands are really excited about some of the innovative brands or, like buzzwords, but then in the end, you always need to put it in the context and see whether your packaging really serves the purpose it was given. And then if it can be recycled or composted or whatever is the material that you're using. But I think that's a big challenge. I need to ask one thing that's very hot in the fashion packaging, and it's about polybags. Recently, I came across a case study from Patagonia, so a very well-known brand for its sustainability efforts. And they were examining whether they can remove polybags from their packaging in delivery. And for those of you who don't know it, polybags are plastic foils that you wrap your garment with, and then you put it in secondary packaging. It's for better protection in delivery, usually. They actually found out that removing polybags increased the damage rate in delivery. At the end of the day, the solution of removing them was way less sustainable, because then the damages increased, people started returning the clothes, and then they could no longer sell it. What's your take on that?
Yeah, well, I think you have to look at the product that's inside. So with some it's needed, with others it's not needed so much. With our denim, most of them become without a poly bag. Only the really light, like our undyed denim. So there's no dyed use, so it's the original color of cotton. So that gets dirty really fast, of course, because it's like a beige kind of look. But our denim doesn't have a poly bag, and we've done that for a couple years. So I wouldn't know if it increased the rate or anything like that. Yeah. And for our tops, we do use poly bags, and we're now examining if we can use like transparent paper poly bags. But we have to find the logistics for that, because we have, of course, multiple partners. So they always have like polybags on stock for all brands. So we have to find the right way for that. Yeah.
Easier said than done, I guess.
Yes, always.
I mean, looking back at the whole production process, I can only imagine what it is like to now require all your suppliers to use a different packaging. I mean, might be difficult.
Could be, yeah.
One of the things I also wanted to cover with you is being circular, because I think this word is so overused. I'm almost fed up with it. Like, I see a lot of fashion collections that are circular, brands that are circular are popping left and right. So, I want to get your perspective on that. And if you could first explain a little bit the concept of what does it actually mean to be a circular brand? I think that would be a good start.
So circularity, it's really, after sustainability, maybe the most used word without a really defined meaning, I would say. The one that we use is the one based on the R strategies, or the R ladder. And there are like a lot of words explaining circularity beginning with an R. So it's pretty self-explanatory. It's about refusing, so don't buy what you don't need, but also refuse unnecessary packaging or these kind of things. Then reducing the amount of impact that you have with your production, for instance. But also recycling, which is, I think, the better known part of circularity. Reusing, so making sure it has another life cycle. Repairing, so it lasts longer. And there's also like recovering and making it into energy, or recycling it into insulation and downstream options. All these R strategies connect with each other, but they also go from like a high value to a lower value. And it's always the best to use the highest value first. And for us, that's reuse. And repair is actually the best way to do it, because you keep it in a loop. You don't have to remanufacture or anything. And that makes it that the impact is the lowest. That is one strategy that we focus on. And recycling, we already talked about, using a lot of recycled fibers, but also thinking about our own waste streams and recycling them. So there are a lot of different ways to think about it. The main thing that we focus on is the refuse one. We stopped doing sale back in 2016. We focus on making clothes that last for multiple seasons and that go over the seasons as well. With that, it's also like a communication between our consumer and ourselves, because we have our never out of stock styles, and depending on how much people like it and how much people buy it from us, we decide if it stays in the never out of stock style, or we can offer something else instead that works better at that moment. So it's like a conversation on demand from the consumer and from the retailer as well. And I think that's really a new way to look at the business, and it's like a circular mindset, business model mindset as well, because it doesn't make sense to make like a new black skinny jeans the next season that has maybe a different button. Instead, you can just sell the same one again in the next season as well. So why discount it after 1 month up to until 70% and devalue the product without any necessary purpose for that?
Yeah, and then as a consumer, you're wondering, what are you paying for, right? If it can get discounted up to 70%, what am I paying for?
And I think it's also like the mindset that we teach our consumers that clothing is a certain value, and then suddenly the next month it's 70% off. So we teach that clothing devaluates over time, and that everything is temporal. And it's in the essence of fashion, because fashion is the thing that it's a temporal trend in that time and space. And that's why we came up with the term unfashion, because we try to go against that fast cycle of producing new and demanding new and buying new and not thinking about what you're buying. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it, and I agree with that. But I also want to challenge it a little bit because obviously, customer behaviors change over time. Just looking at the pandemic and what happened afterwards, I read that the demand for softer and stretchier materials has increased because people were staying more at home and they wanted more comfortable clothes. You can also see that customers are more educated, so the demand for sustainable clothing has also increased. So, I mean, there are some trends happening and people change over time, and their expectations change. So, how do you respond to those trends?
Yeah, well, I think the concept of trends, yeah, trends are there, but they're also circular because they come back over time. So, right now, if you look at what's kind of denim people wear on the streets, it's like bootcuts from the 60s. It's like flare jeans from the 70s. It's mom jeans from the 80s. It's the wide-legged jeans from the 90s. Low waist is coming back again.
Please no.
Yeah, I know, but it's coming back again, guys. So you can see all these trends are constantly coming back. So in the end, it's about your personal style and what you like and what your body looks like in these kind of trends. And we never follow each trend. We only follow the trends that fit with our own identity. If we offer all those different kinds of vibes in our collection, then people can choose the trends that they like at the moment.
There is also one more trend I wanted to ask you about, and it's about customization. Because I mean, obviously, we ride on that trend. We, as a Packhelp, we produce custom packaging for the brands that want to have packaging that's branded, that's unique. But I think this trend is across a lot of other industries. As customers, we want things that are unique, we want to feel special. The popularity of special collections, or collabs with designers, I think that's all a proof of that. So what do you think about it?
I think customization is great, and I think it's also something that you see now a lot because there's also this trend of people making their clothes again themselves, like crocheting, knitting. That kind of trend is there as well. We don't offer customization in that way. We do have a local project in Utrecht. There's this sustainable warehouse, Green Up, and we have a collaboration with Petra from Indigo Ravens, and she customizes denim into patchwork new garments, which is really awesome. They look great. So if you're in Utrecht, go visit there.
I'm gonna.
Limited editions will always be in trend because it's something captured in our brain. We like, if something is limited, we want to have it.
Yeah.
It's why diamonds are so expensive, because there's a monopoly on it, and one person decides how much diamonds there are on the market. And yeah, we want to have it because there's limited stocks. And so yeah, it's really simple to use it as a marketing trick, and that's what brands are doing, and it's working. And I think it's also good because we like to be unique, and yeah, you can choose your own style, like I said before, in that way also with limited editions. But don't let it drive you. Don't just buy it because it's limited. Buy it because you like it.
Yeah, and I think that's a very smart advice, to really think through your purchases as a customer, but also as a brand, what you're putting on the market.
Yeah.
I think just think it twice.
Yeah.
It's not
always.
that hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the, I mean, I don't know if I can call it a trend, but one of the things I'm observing on the market as a consumer also is a lot of rating systems for fashion brands. It can be a portal or a website or an app that is rating different fashion brands on, well, their sustainability efforts, the product, etc. And I'm wondering what kind of value it brings from your perspective to both consumers and the brands. Are you part of any, by the way?
Yeah, we are part of a couple, I think. I think one of the most well-known is Good On You. I think these kind of rating systems are really good because it gives like a first impression of a brand. And most consumers don't want to dive into each brand's website and find out for themselves. And Good On You is really based on, okay, what information is available of the brand? And based on that, we give a score. And it gives like a first global idea of what a brand is communicating and talking about and doing in a way as well, because normally that's line in line. But it's also difficult because it's really a small assessment, and there's so much more going on behind all the communication about sustainability. And that's why there's also a lot of benchmarks that are going further than that. For instance, we're part of the Corporate Fiber and Materials benchmark from Textile Exchange that really dives into materials. Not only the percentage that we're using different fibers, but also the strategy behind it, where we're sourcing it. Biodiversity, they just added as a chapter as well. So it really dives deeper into what brands actually do. And this is also something that you can just find online as a consumer. So you can see what brands are doing on a fiber level. I think both need to be there. And as a consumer, it's really difficult to move through all the information about sustainability and see greenwashing from real information. It's really difficult to create that eye for it. And myself, sometimes am puzzled as well if I look at some communication, like I'm not sure if this is right, but I can't pinpoint why I think that it's not right.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just a gut feeling,
it's
right?
a gut feeling, yeah, like
and it shouldn't be like that.
Yeah, trust that gut feeling. That is maybe the first tip, but also it's good to find these rating systems and see for yourself what they think is going on. And then if you want to dive deeper, go to the website. And
we're slowly reaching the end of today's episode, and I'd like to finish it up with a round of fire rapid questions. Think of it as a quick recap of our conversation. I'm gonna ask you questions, and then you have like one word, one sentence max to answer it. Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. So what's the most important trend in the denim industry?
Flared legged jeans and lower waists.
What's the key thing to improving the production process for denim products?
I would say think about fibers and also the volume that you're producing. Yeah.
What packaging do you use to ship products to your customers?
We're using Packhelp mailers, the e-green bags.
What materials is it made of?
FSC certified paper.
Okay, now finish the sentence. If a brand wants to be circular, it should start with
thinking about waste and reuse.
Fashion brands should stop
sale, definitely.
Something other brands can take as an example from Kuichi is
no matter where you are in your journey, start communicate transparently.
And that's a wrap. Thank you so much, Zoe. That was so much fun, and I really appreciate your honesty and transparency in communicating with us. And thank you, listeners and viewers, for joining us. I hope you really enjoyed today's episode of The Packaging Perspective. If you did, share it with your friends, with your network, with your family, share it everywhere. And don't forget to tune in for the next episode. In episode 2, we will be chatting with Brownie God on making and delivering the internet's most favorite brownies. It will be a treat, I promise. So, until the next time.
Bye-bye.
And that's it for today's episode. If you enjoyed it, head over to packhelp.com to keep on exploring the exciting world of packaging.